Well, good afternoon, everyone. Hold on a second. There we go. Live. And where you going, buddy? So apparently some people don't know what a turn signal is. Hope everyone's doing well. Uh, Going across town again. I don't know how I do this. Sometimes I schedule my day and I'm basically zipping across the city 4 times in a day. I got to do a better job. I used to have it really down pat, but now I don't. So I'm expecting things are just going to become a ghost town in general as we get closer to the Thanksgiving holiday. So where did this guy come from, bro? Anyway, I hope y'all doing well. Hey, Skydive, what's going on? So what was I talking about in this title? Mistrust or cowardice? Hey, Marco, what's going on? Prepping artist, hello, hello. And hey, Coffee. Hey, KP. So I read an article yesterday, and the article was interesting. It was talking about how people feel about the government and society. Obviously, nobody's happy, right? And hey, Keith, hey, Jess, what's going on? So it said that of individuals, so it had different demographics, right? It was like, is society going in the right direction? Is the economy going in the right direction? And it was basically 18 to 70-year-olds, like basically the adult population, who's not retired and not in high school, if that makes any sense. So they asked this group of people, hey, Nanya, a variety of questions. One of the questions was, would you volunteer for the military if you were of draft age, which now I believe is from 17 and a half to 42, depending on the branch. 41 if you're Navy, 42. I think the Marines are a little bit lower. But anyway, basically 18 to 40. Would you volunteer if we got into a war with another peer power, like China, Russia, Iran, someone big who would cause a battle? And the general consensus, 72% said no, we would not volunteer to go fight a war for another country. And I can see that, right? Because a lot of people just don't trust the government. I sure as hell don't trust our leadership in general right now. And that's across the board. And dude, if you ride a bike into traffic, that's how people get hurt. And get off your phone. The guy's texting and riding a bike. This is why people get hit by cars. Pendejadas. It's like, why do people get stuff stolen? Lock your shit, you know? I don't know. Anyway, I'll stop. Hey, Canadian. Hey, my mother Spark. What's going on, Christy? Then it started breaking down. Sorry, that's my windshield wipers. It starts breaking down other questions, and one of the questions was, if America got attacked, if the United States, and they asked Canadians too, if the US or Canada was attacked directly, would you fight here to defend your home? And that one was about 80% yes. And that, again, that's from 18. Hey, Daryl, that's from 18-year-old to that's my windshield's making that yeah, that it's raining just enough to screw with what I'm seeing, but not enough for it to wipe quietly. It's like just enough for it to grab tension, go. In any case, so they said if America was attacked, for instance, if Texas, say the Venezuelans came, attacked Mexico, ran off the Mexican army, and then came and attacked Texas, would you defend Texas? Well, of course, right? So about 80% said yes. Another 5 or 10% said they wouldn't fight, but they would try to help, like be doctors or drive equipment or whatever. Okay, so technically you're participating. All right, so that was overwhelming. But here's the kick in the ass on this survey. They then asked, they broke it down by demographic. Well, that's, and hence, hey, Miss America, hence the roaming prepper part. Yeah, I'm always somewhere. They broke it down by age groups, not by demographics. So, you know, black, white, Hispanic. They didn't do that. They broke it down by age groups. Listen to this. So they asked, if America was attacked, would you defend the US of A, right? So, of course, like the folks we call boomers, like, you know, the older generation was like 85% yes, if they were physically able to, right? Because they're getting older. Then Gen X, which is right behind the boomers, and the millennials were like 75 to 80%. I don't remember the exact breakdown. Hey, Watchmen, yes, we would fight to defend the US. When they got to the 18 to 26 year olds, 30% said they would surrender without fighting, regardless of who it was that was trying to take us over. Now I want you to think about that. Hey, Mutt. Hey, Merkel. I missed a few of you guys out here. So, hey, Joe. Yeah, now I'm going to repeat that. So overall, from 18 to 65, whatever the top was, if the US of A was attacked, not would you volunteer to go fight someone else's war, if we were attacked here, would you fight? It was like 78% said yes, and then another 8% said they would try to help the effort if they could, you know, because some people, you're disabled, but you're like, well, I can fix guns, or I can work a radio, right? So you do what you can, or be a medic. Like, I'm a nurse, I won't fight, but I can help people. When they broke out by age groups, the 18 to 26 year olds, 30% of them in this survey said, hey, for your form, said they would surrender regardless of who was attacking us. They're not even communists. Communists fought. The freaking Russian communists and the Chinese overran our positions in Korea, and they overran the Germans, not the Russians. The Russians overran the Germans. They're not even compliant. They're wimps. They would not. 30%, 1 in 3 young Americans in the age group of my 2 military sons would surrender. Now, mind you, that same demographic is also struggling with a bunch of other things right now. This freaking blows my mind. And I get when they ask the first question, hey, random, when they ask the first question about, oh, hey, you know, would you volunteer to fight a war overseas? And like 75% across the board said no, because they don't trust the government. You know, there's a lot more information out there that people can be informed with. And they're like, you know what, no, I'm not going to fight, you know, so-and-so's war for them. Fuck those guys, right? But then when they flipped it around and said, if we got attacked, would you defend your country or participate in the effort? Roughly 80% across the board said yes, but that young demographic, the draft age, 18 to 26 year olds, something like that, 1 in 3 said they would just surrender their city regardless of who we were fighting. Now, I get the general distrust of the government and, you know, politicians and the wars we fight, right? Like going back to like Vietnam and ever since then, right? Everyone could. Yes, War's a Racket. I have yet to buy the book, but I heard it's a phenomenal book. Not specific ones. Hold on, I lost track of the chat here. I'm actually at a light, so I can kind of... But, who's gonna buy that beer? Never mind, Joe. Yeah. No, Raccoon Eyes, that's exactly the point. We have confused an entire generation, and I think a lot of parents have abdicated the education of their kids. I would challenge my kids on their schoolwork. What did you learn today? Because if my son's like, oh, I didn't learn anything, I would be on his ass. Like, the hell you did? So what, you were stoned all day? Were you drunk? What are you doing? Hey, EMT. This young group, I'm thinking to myself, do you guys understand? Now, mind you, this is the same age group that on a separate survey on another survey done by another newspaper, 1 in 4 identify now as trans, or they don't know what their gender is. So there's like a whole generation seems completely discombobulated. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, you guys understand that if you surrender to this other entity, whoever it is, they may not like your lifestyle. And you might be declared offensive, you might be declared mentally ill, you might be declared even worse. For those of you who served in OIF, OEF, the other ops out there in the sandbox and up in the litter box in Afghanistan, you would be considered haram, which is unworthy even of a warrior's death. And hence why certain members of the population in certain parts of the world get thrown off buildings, because you're unworthy to soil a blade with you. So you get thrown off a building. Like, how do they not compute this? See, and I did my Monday night headlines last night, and I was cursing in that one too, because the stupidity. I'm loving it. Doing 5 subjects, learning things I've forgotten. Good. Are you back in school, Random? Joe, I'm feeling rather spicy today. Well, Joe, do a live stream or do a video on 1 in 3 Americans between the age of 18 and 26 would surrender to a foreign power, regardless of who it was. Have they lost their freaking mind? Like, do they understand that they would probably be put to death or jail or something? I can't understand this. To me, it's like, do you actually think hypothetically, all right, this is purely hypothetical, if China invaded us, you'd get freedom to walk around whenever you want? So, Jay, I have no idea what Jay was just talking about, but it was funny as shit. Random, that's excellent. That's the best way to do it. And if you can't do that, because not everyone can, in your time or schedule, and that's the other thing, they've screwed up the economy so much that a lot of families, both parents have to work, or else you can't feed the damn kids, so now your kids go to the public school. But the parents are so busy, you don't have time to challenge what they're being taught. Like I said, my middle son was sent to the principal for calling his English teacher a Marxist concubine. And I told him the Marxist part you probably could have gotten away with. The concubine that's where you screwed up. And he said, but I'm not wrong, sir. And I'm like, no, I agree with you. So he got sent home for a day. He got a 1-day timeout or whatever the hell, suspension. And I told the principal, if your English teacher of all people was preaching politics and got called a concubine or a Marxist, that's on her. She should be teaching frickin' English and how to make sentences and how to read intelligently and not pushing her agenda. So you can suspend my son for a day. He will not be punished at home. And the principal knew me and knew my wife, and she's like, yeah, I figured that would be what you'd say. She kind of was like, I understand. The teacher was offended. And I'm like, I don't care if you're a Marxist, whatever. To be honest, you kind of look like a concubine, but we won't go there. Anyway, I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, yeah, so for those of you who rolled in late, this survey indicated that 1 in 3 Americans between the age of 18 to 20, oh, that's not a good sign. And that would be an ambulance, and ooh, he's moving. Things have happened, my friends. Voom, and there he goes. 1 in 3 young Americans between 18 and 26 would not even fight to defend the home country. Hey, bushcrafter, what's going on? But would surrender immediately to any invading power. Which just blows my mind. And PV, absolutely. Absolutely, they can be. But I'm also looking at the trend, right? This is the same age group that is having a lot of other issues. How I'm trying to find a way to say it where all of us don't get kicked off of YouTube. They're having a lot of other issues, and they're struggling in society. So yeah, so for the record, yes, I absolutely agree. I'm an engineer. I could take statistics all day long and make new stuff out of them, and it would be legit. I could defend what I've done. You know, you could say, oh, I've only had one engineering mistake out of 20, but that one engineering mistake may have, you know, cost 90% of your budget, right? But technically it's a 99%, yeah, I went 99% right. Yeah, but the 1% really screwed the pooch. So yeah, you can absolutely play with stats. But when you have 1 in 3, now, for the record, I don't know the breakdown of the demographic. I don't know, did they interview all these kids in like San Francisco or Austin, or if they had taken a bunch of kids from like West Texas or Indiana or Idaho, would it have been different? So again, take it with a grain of salt, but to me, it tells me two things, the way the survey panned out. And again, at face value. One, most people don't trust the government, don't trust our leaders in general, and don't trust that when we get into war, it's for the right reasons. I can respect that 100%. Two, the younger age group is vastly different from the 3 generations before it. Like when they compared the millennials to Gen Z, they were totally different. So it was it was weird to behold. It was absolutely strange to behold. To read that stat, knowing that, you know, young men in my own family are currently in uniform, just blows my mind. Oh yay, dead zone. I went through the dead zone again, in case I'm doing the do-do-do. So folks, you're probably wondering, well, how does this affect us? Well, this is where freeze. Okay, am I back? I broke it again. Doggone it. Yeah, I get between these two buildings, and I get there's a section. Whenever I get that circle, I'm gonna park here for a minute so I don't block traffic. So what do we do about this, right? This is not necessarily a prepper thing, but it's important to understand the environment that you're in, right? It's important to understand how the different groups, age group, ethnic groups, see the world, because in an emergency, must have started already. Hey, for your farm. In an emergency, you don't know who may be with you, and you want to be able to talk or relate to these other people. Hold on. What were the other channels? I finally stopped long enough so I can read some stuff. So, okay, thank you, Jess. So what do we do? Well, my dad had a rule, and I thought it was an interesting run. He always helped the young guys in the neighborhood if they had to talk about how to get a job, how to interview. And one day I asked him, I said, Dad, why do you do that? Because we don't really know some of these kids. And they don't want competition. Yeah, you can share, I don't know which channels. Yeah, you can share channels. That's fine. I'm going to have to shut it down here in about 5 minutes. But yeah, if you want to throw a few of them in there, that's okay. Sorry, guys. There was a lot of weird traffic today, and I wasn't watching you guys as much. I was kind of watching forward. There's not much you can do as far as this statistic, assuming it's legit. But you never know who's going to be in your circle if something happens, right? During Hurricane Harvey, for instance, at some point the guard cut us loose. They're like, okay, you guys are in the affected area, go home. And they kind of gave us limited work anyway. But exactly, Higgy, that's exactly where I was going. mentor the younger ones. If they ask, well, why do I need to learn? Why do I need to learn how to cook with a cast iron? Well, first of all, it's better for you than like Teflon. And second of all, it tastes good and you can do, you know what I mean? Why do I need to have a flashlight? I literally, hey, Wolfgang, I know young adults right now. And I'm like, do you have a flashlight in your bag? No. So what if the lights go out here? And they're like, wait, what's that? Points for the hair color. For my beard or for my head? Because I got no hair on my head. So Jay was asking about hair. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate it. Mentor these kids. They're not being taught anything. They think that, oh, fascism is bad. Yeah, Nazis. So communism is better. No, that's not better, because a lot of people look at politics like left and right. And in reality, it's kind of like a circle, right? You start up here, you go too far right, you wind up at dictatorship. You go too far left, guess what? Dictatorship. Both will end badly when it goes completely around to the far end of that spectrum. And they don't teach this. There are people, there are young adults. This was a TikTok guy, and he's probably my age. This gentleman is a black gentleman. And he was talking to his grandson's friends, and they said, when were you born? And he said, I was born in 1960, right? And this gentleman's older than me, and he's a grandpa of a teenager, and the grandson's friend said, were you in slavery? What was it like? He thought the kid was kidding. He goes, no, son, slavery ended 100 years before that, in 1861. And he goes, oh, did you have phones? Like the kids, they don't understand. They're not being taught. So to me, this information tells me that when I see the younger crowd and they're asking questions, thank you, Christy, I appreciate what you did. They're asking questions. Don't get ugly with them. Take the time to ask them, well, what are you trying to learn? What are you trying to get out of your question? So you can kind of guide them. Because keep in mind, be prepared to be mildly disappointed. I'm not as much fun as the others. No, Jay likes to be snarky. Joe does too. Joe has some really snarky stuff on his channel. I do. I'll get agitated at the gas station getting my car. Oh, what's a dial phone? So, when link on Magic Prepper channel, I disagree. I'll put his crisis report link on Magic Prepper channel. Well, Watchmen, to be fair, there are some creators that are actually have gotten ugly with other creators, so I can't speak to what's going on between other people. But there are certain channels, there are people I've kicked off my channel that are creators. I've banned them, I blocked their phone, the whole 9 yards. Because of behavior they've conducted. So I'm not going to judge another channel. I don't think that's necessarily greed. I think if someone's disrespectful of me, fuck them. I'm not going to tolerate their being disrespectful on my channel. To me or other people. There was someone making rapish comments in my live stream, and that person got banned also. And then emails me and says, well, I was making fun. That's not funny. So yeah, I can't speak to what happened to the big channels, but I don't mind sharing channels in general. But yeah, someone's disrespectful, done. I don't have the bandwidth in my life to deal with that. Well, so see, I like Prepper now and I like Magic, and I've been in touch with both, but separately. So I don't know. There may be something there. Some guys, as a rule, don't put anyone's links in their chats. And I don't know if that's like a liability thing. They think, what do you call? They may not, They may just not want to be liable. Like if you link to that other guy and then that person says something offensive, they may not want you to get angry. I don't know. I can't speak to it. Everyone has their own little rules. But yeah, if people are not respectful, or if they're just, yeah, being funny and snarky is one thing. If they're being belligerent or vile, I don't have to tolerate it. Like one guy's like, oh, you got triggered. No, I didn't get triggered. I just lost interest in your shit. You are now irrelevant to me. I actually said that to one person to their face. They were being a shit, so we stopped including them in events, and they got upset. And I'm like, dude, every time you go out, you get 2 drinks in you, you're disrespectful to the ladies, and you talk shit, and nobody wants to hear that. So I know some young people never bought a newspaper. They ask why it's on the internet. Yeah, I got that, but well, they do know that the internet can be changed, right? Like, they don't think about it. So anyway, going back to our original subject, that's a good segue, though, Watchman, because I normally don't mind, because chances are, if you've been a complete a-hole on my channel to the people in the chat, well, sarcasm's one thing, right? Because that can be fun, it can be constructive. If you're being vile or belligerent or making rape jokes or something like that, I'm like, that, I lose interest in that shit real quick. I had a sister that got attacked when we were kids, so I have no interest in that bullshit. Fortunately for that person, I was a young kid and I was not an adult, because then I'd be in jail. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I can't speak to the other channels, but take the time to mentor these young kids, because I, honest to God, and this is my opinion, I honest to God think a lot of them would love guidance, like well-meaning guidance from other people. I don't think they're being given any boundaries. Hey Dana, I don't think they're being given boundaries. I don't think they're being given guidance. They're being fed propaganda. And a lot of these kids are not stupid. These younger, that 18 to 26 I talked about, they're not stupid, but nobody's showing them anything. And when you actually sit down and take the time and go, hey, this is why you should do this, and you give them a common sense, respectful answer that makes sense, they'll go, oh, wow, okay. Look, my son and daughter-in-law, I got them a food saver, and they said, well, how do you use it? So I spent a whole day. I went to visit them in Hawaii. I spent a whole day. We went and got a bunch of meat and other product, and I showed the kids how to use a food saver. So my daughter-in-law sends me a video a month ago. She said, we finally ran out of the meat that I had stored for them. It took them 6 months. That's how well stocked they were. And there's my son with the machine separating, cutting, and freezing the various meats from his new grocery run. And I'm like, okay. And then he said, yeah, we're also teaching the neighbors how to do it. So right now, by showing my daughter-in-law how this was done, there are now 5 young moms on that army base who are all now using food savers to preserve food and to save some money. So even just teaching one of these younger adults, hey, look, this is why we do this, because look what happened here. They may then take that knowledge and grow from it. Hey, Jersey Shore, they may take that knowledge and go and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to teach my friends. And now by affecting one, I've affected 4 others. You kind of know you understand what I'm saying? So take that time. Don't immediately dismiss this young crowd. Take the time to answer questions. Now on TikTok, I get a bunch of questions from the younger crowd, right? Also Twitch, which is weird because Twitch is really bizarre and there's a weird audience there. But I've actually done little videos where I'm explaining stuff to people. And I'll get an email later going, hey, what's your YouTube again? And I'll say it's the same name, the roaming prepper, go over there. Because they wanted to follow up on that. I come by videos that are critical in the informational of not being able to share it. Okay. I missed part of Watchman's point. Now I can't see it. That's the one bad thing about the chat. You can only put little bits of information at a time, so it's really hard to kind of... I have blocked because they're full of shit. They're... Yeah. No, but in any case... All right, prepping artist, congrats. So folks, take that time, because clearly if this survey was accurate and 1 in 3 young Americans between 18 to 26 would surrender if America was invaded, they wouldn't even fight for their local community, then we need to mentor them if we can. Now, we can't change that. We can't change the world. But again, by teaching one young individual a new skill, she went and then taught 2 others, who will then teach 2 others. And I've changed the course of that group over there by doing something very simple. And so being able, there are Valerie, some creators to block and not share. Yeah. If somebody's being a butt. Yeah, and I think you guys are on the same page. I think it's a question of... Yeah, oh, to stop watching someone's... Yeah, and that's the other thing. I get where you guys are going. Hey, Neil. By the way, Neil, thank you for jumping in. If you did not watch... Oh, shit, was it yesterday or the day before? Neil, help me out. Economic Ninja did a breakdown on the cars right now. If you're going to buy a car, I would wait about 4 months. If he's been really accurate with some of his predictions within... they don't want to fight. And take the first hint. And you know, Dan, though, to be fair, they may not want to fight because they don't understand what's at stake. Thank you, Neil, 2 days ago. They don't understand what's at stake. And if you say, look, the countries that would invade us, that actually have a potential to come and attack us, those countries would upend your life, right? And they would not treat you well. And I think by not teaching them history, yes, his real estate, and full disclosure, my wife used to be a realtor here in Texas for years before she left, ironically after the 2008 crash, because she came home crying one day saying, the builders have screwed all these young couples and I can't help them. I don't know what to do to help them, because she couldn't. The kids were screwed. But even so, take the time to mentor these young folks. Hey, Fed Up, what's going on? Because being able to do that, you might change their perspective. You may not, right? But like I said, I went overseas to visit family. I taught my lovely daughter-in-law and my son, hey, this is a food saver. This is how you prep the meat. This is how you store it. This is how long it lasts. And her mom is a homesteader. I didn't know this. And the mom shows up and goes, who packed all this meat? Who seasoned this cast iron? It's beautiful. And she's like, my father-in-law. So now I'm going to get to meet the rest of the family this year. So I'm kind of excited about that, because if they're like-minded, now there's more people who are like-minded across multiple states, right? So by helping one young couple, I've not only met new people, I've affected a lot of other young people to learn stuff. So this is the kind of stuff we can do to change this statistic, and we may not be able to. So, you know, be smart. Try to help these young folks when they come with questions. There's my phone's all crooked. And looks like some military jets create a sonic boom in upstate New York. Big oops. Oh, yeah. Well, we would see that in Long Island when they had the old Grumman plant out in Suffolk County, I think. It was in Suffolk or Nassau? No, Suffolk County. That's where they built the F-14 Tomcats, the Top Gun planes. And we'd see them on the beach. They'd come flying out for their test flights, and they get about a mile out, and all of a sudden you'd see that boosh. They do that sea level supersonic boosh, and you'd see that cloud of those little specks going away, and we'd be like, ah! You know, we were a bunch of little kids. What did we know, right? But in any case, try to help those people. Try to help folks learn and grow as best you can. It's important to understand that I really, honest to God, believe that, hey, surviving behind, California, woo, keep up the fight there. Being able to help that younger demographic, because clearly the new Mandela effect. No, I have not. I'm trying to read the chat and finish my thought, and I'm getting squirrel moments is what I'm having happen. Being able to teach that younger demographic who's clearly not being taught by our system, because it's such a blatant, they asked the same question and all the age groups were within 2 percentage points till you got to that one. That tells me the indoctrination is changing that young generation. We can change it back. Hey, Loretta, take care, be safe. And if I missed anyone in the chat, I apologize. It keeps flying by. Take that time to help that younger crowd, and we can change that demographic, even a little bit, if nothing else, in your area. You know what I'm saying? You can do a lot with very simple lessons. And again, to like Watchmen and My Mother Spark, we're having a discussion there, which is great. I encourage that. To their point, help them understand valuable knowledge and valuable information versus this is dangerous information and here's why, or be critical of this type of information because these things can happen. And it's hard, right? Because everyone has a different way of looking at things. But there's certain things that will get people hurt. And again, as being an engineer, a lot of our stuff is trial and error. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, hey, Zach, we try to do things and it fails. So trading notes, that's why I'm kind of, it was prepping artists, not anymore. Okay. All right, I lost track of the chat. They took off from Stewart's. In any case, Zach, how you doing today? So I lost track of what somebody asked me a question, but I lost it and I can't find it. In any case, folks, look, like I said, that demographic, 18 to 26, for those of you who rolled in late, 1 in 3 said that if the U.S. was actually invaded, they wouldn't even fight or participate in the effort to resist. They would surrender immediately, according to this survey, which again can be manipulated. So folks, take the time to mentor the young ones, the younger folks. And personally, I found teenagers love to learn this stuff. If you can teach a teenager to make pizza on a cast iron, you're gonna make a friend there, because they'll be like, well, I can make my own pizza, and then they'll make a mess in the kitchen, and that's fine. Take the time to teach them. I've probably taught about 5 or 6 young professionals, like out of college, so what, 22 to 25, how to shoot skeet and sporting clays. So I've now introduced 5 or 6 people to the Second Amendment and to not only defensive shooting, but hunting, right? Because you could shoot a clay, you can shoot a dove, you could shoot a duck and feed yourself. So doing this kind of stuff actually has other ramifications. So don't turn a blind eye. If you get a question you think is dumb, don't say, wow, this is a stupid question. It may be coming from a place of ignorance, a lack of knowledge. It may be, yeah, absolutely. Yamamoto's, I love that phrase, by the way. It may be coming from a place, hey, Stewart's, where this person doesn't honestly know. And you have a chance to change that. And that can make a huge difference in their life, and it can change their circle. And now you've countered this bizarre, weird, whatever indoctrination's going on, that all these age groups, all the way through millennials, even older Gen Z, and then you get into the young Gen Z, and they're completely different. It's like something has changed, and it's very abrupt. So Pizza Hut was cheesy. Pizza the Hut, oh God, I remember that movie. You can't make movies like that anymore. Like Blazing Saddle was all racist shit. I don't think they were not racist to a single group. And my sons had never seen it. When they were in high school, I said, we're going to watch Blazing Saddles. What? Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, and Eddie Murphy Delirious. My son was laughing so hard he ran upstairs. He's like, I'm going to wet myself. He ran upstairs to go use the bathroom. That's how hard they were laughing. So, hey, Devil Dog. So, folks, again, if that survey told me anything, it's that young crowd, that 18 to 26, need our guidance. They need us to share with them, hey, this is why we do these things. This is why, because of Hurricane Harvey, of Ike, or whatever, the blackout, the freeze. They're real life examples you can look up right now and show them, look what happened here. I just watched 48 hours from 80s. Holy racism. So, in any case, folks, I'm gonna bolt. I actually am doing a luncheon in about 30 minutes. So, and that's why sometimes I schedule these drives. Like I said, I schedule appointments across town, not always by design. And then I'm like, well, shit, I got a 30-minute drive to get from A to B. I'll jump on the web and do a live stream. You guys be careful, be safe out there. And remember, if you can educate, mentor, show someone, keep an open mind when you get the dumb questions, because those questions may not be of stupidity. It may literally be an asking for help. They just don't know. So let's be the person they can go to. All right? If you go away with anything, go away with that. Share your knowledge and teach the young ones when they ask, because they're going to be the ones that are going to carry it forward. So you guys be safe, be good, God bless, and keep out of trouble out there. We'll see you all later.